We use Twitter as well. We set up a Twitter account. In the end, actually, most of the driver for that is me. We use Hootsuite, which is there's lots of different platforms for using Twitter, obviously out there. But Hootsuite makes it very easy to have multiple accounts at the same time. So essentially, what I do is whenever I come across something interesting that's relevant to the community, I cross-post it both on my own Twitter account and using the OpenAI network account as well. And that's very, very easy to do with something like Twitter. So we're kind of putting out what I put like the elevator or the water cooler conversation to do. It's that kind of, have you seen this? Have you heard about that? Have you seen that program on TV last night? It fulfills that kind of function for us mostly. This isn't really to do with managing the community, but it's very much to do with managing the project. One of the really useful things that we did is we set up a project management wiki at the beginning of the process. Again, just as straightforward, we just got a PB wiki site. We didn't pay for it. It's not university hosted. And we use that as our kind of document repository. We use it as our actions diary. We use it as our contacts book. And because the project team were very dispersed as well, we weren't all working from the same office. This gave us a kind of one place we could always go to. It also meant we could direct the Jisc program managers to it if they wanted to get any documents from us. We'd have to email them off to people. They were all located in one central repository. And that was a very, very useful sort of back end, as it were, to the whole project in terms of managing it. Wenger in the Digital Habitats book has got some very, very useful diagnostic and analytical tools to help you map out what your community's needs might be in terms of what he calls the orientations of it. And one of those that we used a little bit, which is quite useful, was the idea of a spider diagram. And essentially what this is, it's an Excel spreadsheet into which you enter the sorts of different things you're concerned about. You can put in any, obviously you can change the variables yourself. And it essentially allows you to map the gap between where you are now and where you would like to be in a very, very simple and easy way. And again, if you go to the Digital Habitats book, there are lots and lots of similar kinds of evaluative mapping, conceptualizing, scenario building tools that Wenger and his colleagues have developed over the years, which really help you try and assess what your needs might be as a community in terms of how you might use technology to enhance them and so on. So, what I would say, however,
can you go back to that slide?
Sure.
So that's collective data, is it, for the whole community?
You can use it in various different ways. You can use, this was our project team's collected data. There was a small group who's got together and worked on this, but you can obviously send it out to a much larger group. We've used this on our own course, where we sent this survey out to all of our students, asking them their experience of the course and what they would like it to be like and what they think it's like. And then we kind of collated all of that data. So yes, you can either do it for individuals or you can do it for groups and then collate the data together.
Yeah, that's the bit I'm interested in. So how you're actually using it.
Yes. I mean, it basically helps you plan the next steps because it's a very easy way to see the gap between where you are now and where you should be or where you would like to be. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yes.
So the closing point really, though, I have to say is that, at the end of the day, the technology is not going to solve the problems for you. It can amplify, technology makes good things good, it makes bad things worse. And I think, you can't predict and plan absolutely everything that's going to happen in advance. That's one of the things that we were very aware of. Lots of things we thought our community was going to do and engage in through technology, it didn't. And several things that we didn't expect it to do, it did. So I think that's a very important thing to remember. Always be very flexible and I think very agile in using these kinds of tools. So, are there any questions at that point? No, I haven't already answered. Okay, well, I thought it would be quite good if we did some collaboration around technology. And so, I thought it would be quite nice if we could work on this idea for 5 minutes or so on the table. So if you're only on one or two people, perhaps join in at the table. But, can you think, what kind of ways might you think of to use technology to reach out to a community that's close to you, to a practice community that's close to you? And then we can maybe pull those together at the end. I'll make a few closing remarks on how I think we can use these kind of approaches of things like webinars and so on to reach out into the business community. So if you want to just join the table if you're on your own or move a bit closer together. If one person could maybe be a note taker and then just, let's say for about 5 minutes, so pretty quick, and then we'll go for one very, very quick feedback from each table before we finish. And then we're going to try and put that into a Google Doc as well so that we can actually share that at the end of the day. Does that make sense? I mean, certainly what we found with the webinars, we can think of all sorts of ways that you could use the webinar format to go out and reach out into the community. We've obviously got the whole hog and build that kind of community in practice. It's It's really trying to engage with the key problems in our industry over a long-term basis. We're running it now into its second year. But I think you could use it in a much more focused, tightly way. One fantastic use, I think, would be to go, as I said, to feed your curriculum. Arrange with a group of local businesses for them to come in virtually into your environment, talk with students, explain to them what are they looking for, what kind of graduate attributes they want. It's a great way from the horse's mouth, as it were, because the ask, as it were, from the business is actually quite low. Maybe you're asking for 20 minutes of their time from their desktop to come into your institution to talk to your leaders or your students or your teachers. What the University of Liverpool did, which is very successful in this regard, is they couriered a headset and microphone set to everybody, all the business people they invited in to come and talk to us, as a little sort of thank you present, as a little gift. Which meant two things. One, it meant they knew the person had a good quality headset for the webinar, which is one of the main barriers to that. And two, the person felt, that's quite a nice little gift. And what they did, they basically replaced what they would otherwise have spent on giving them a lunch at the university or paying their train fare to come in. So I think it's a very, very easy, relatively quick benefit there for everybody concerned. And my experience has been that the industry people are really, really engaged in this. They actually really love sharing their experience, sharing their tacit knowledge with the institutions like ours. It's a great way, I think, to kind of bridge that gap between what we think our students should be doing and what industry thinks our students should be doing, and making that a two-way conversation and not simply a kind of two people stumbling around in the dark who can't quite communicate with each other. So on that point, I think I'll finish. We'll leave this Google document is open to anyone to edit. If you have time to go back to it later on or add to it, we've created a small artifact here, put it out on Twitter as well, so anybody else at the session can add to it too.
Can you put the URL?
I will, yeah, absolutely.
While Paul's doing that, I'm sure you'd like to join me in thanking him for his presentation this morning.
And thank you all as well for joining in. We actually built something, which is great.